again welcome everyone to the EFF press conference. I'm going to take it that now I'm familiar with the members of the presidium. These are the EFF officials, or if you like, the top five. I'm going to immediately hand over to the Commander-in-Chief to take us through the state of the President.
Thank you very much, officials of the EFF, members of the media, fellow South Africans. I want to take this opportunity to make a call to all young people in South Africa to go and register to vote. All youth above the age of 16 must make an effort to visit nearest voting stations this week on Saturday, 10th and Sunday, 11th March 2018. We make this special call because 2019 elections belongs to the youth. For the first time, young people will constitute the overwhelming majority of the voters' roll. This means two things. One is that since 1994, the elders in the country have been the ones at the majority of determining the future we are in today. This is the future of high youth unemployment, inequality, landlessness, deindustrialization, poverty, and land hunger. Two, it means the elders in society in their majority have been maintaining the state leadership full of corruption, state capture, maladministration, which collapse of healthcare, education, and never invested in higher education and skills. The year 2019 is therefore the year where the youth must change this direction, but young people across the country can do so if they register first in order to appear on the IEC voters' roll. Let the voting stations be filled with the youth in the same way we filled university campuses in January to stage walk-in to take advantage of free education. Let us stage walk-in all voting stations across the country and register to vote EFF. The EFF welcomes and celebrates the fact that black political parties united in support of the expropriation of land without compensation motion. The 27th of February 2018 will go in history as one of the most important dates in the history of South Africa because the process that will culminate in the complete return of the land to the people was resolved by overwhelming majority of South Africans. The EFF calls on all South Africans of all races, creed, and origin to make submissions to the Constitutional Review Committee and encourage all to stop the threats of war or civil conflict. Parliament has opened up space for engagement, and we believe that all South Africans should democratically participate and be willing to accept.
We apologize for that break there. We'll try and get that link back for you. But so far, it seems that Julius Malema has been speaking about this upcoming voter registration weekend. He's saying it is an important weekend for the country, especially after the recent political developments. And he's been calling on young people to go and register to vote this weekend. And we know that we heard from the IEC yesterday saying that this weekend it's all systems go for the voter registration drive. 200,000 voter registration stations will be opened 8 to 5 Saturday and Sunday for people to go and verify their addresses and to register to vote that registration weekend coming up this Saturday and Sunday. So we'll try and get that link back up for you. We're expecting Julius Malema, as he usually does, to address a number of issues facing the country at the moment. In the meantime, let's
listeriosis. The first step should have been to declare crisis once the source had been identified and take into consideration that ours is the largest outbreak regarded in history. Many retail outlets in rural South Africa still have products that are linked to spread of listeriosis. In addition, there is no disposal plan from the withdrawn product from retail stores because they may very well find their way back into circulations. The companies involved, Rainbow Chicken and Enterprise Food, must take full responsibility for the outbreak and have the audacity to be prepared to compensate those infected as well as those who died. This must be non-negotiable from the government that cares for lives. We have therefore instructed our lawyers to take class action against companies involved in the spread of the listeriosis. We reiterate our call that all fighters and fellow South Africans must do walk in all nearby retail stores in rural and urban South Africa to help remove all product links to listeriosis, polony, Viennas, Rainbow Chicken, and whatever is popularly known as Russians. Finally, we wish all women of the world, in particular working class, Black and African women, a happy International Women's Day.
Let's take the first round. Thank you, President. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand. And before you do your question, say where you are from and who you are. So let's attempt the first round of questions. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Is there anyone else? Number 4, number 5. Okay, let's go number 1.
Yeah, my name is Kevin.
Just please maybe stand because the leadership can't see you because of cameras.
My name is Derek Knack. I just want to know if you, as you are after setting the agenda and giving place on the question of information.
Is this, I will leave the ANC in terms of setting the agenda?
I can't hear.
I'm going to ask you to project, you know, like the basket.
Or come closer. Or come closer.
And, or come closer, yes. Come closer. Don't be scared. There are no white shirts here.
I just want to know, I told you that I'm hearing I just want to know whether the EFF believes that it is setting the agenda for this issue of transformation, particularly the land expropriation. Because from what the Premier of Northern Cape said, they realize that the EFF is ahead of them, hence they decided to actually support this. So I just want to know if you believe that you are setting the agenda, or is it just a question of just making it look like you are ahead of them?
Number 2. You can come closer as well.
Hi, Alex Wayne from Reuters News Agency. The question is about land. Do you think that you will make land reform front and centre the most important piece of your election campaign next year? And also on land reform, would you like to prioritise the redistribution of urban land or rural land? How do you see the division within that? What do you think is the most important part of land reform? Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2. Number 3.
From here. 2 questions, Mr. Malema. The first one about the campaign to get, where you're calling on your members to help retailers remove products that may be linked to listeriosis. I've just seen a picture where, people wearing EFF regalia were doing exactly that at one of the stores. But the products that they have in their baskets and their trolleys, none of them are enterprise products. So a question then comes up to say, is there no risk that this could actually be taken in the wrong direction and end up affecting products that are actually produced by workers that you claim to represent? That's the one question. The second one has to do with the issue of your tone towards the ANC. And your moves and your overtures towards the ANC now, not only linked to what happened in Parliament, but also about the motion of no confidence in us controlling. What will you say to someone who says you are inconsistent and can't be trusted? Because, I mean, you've cited many reasons how the ANC seems to be moving in the direction you want. But the key fundamental thing that comes back to my mind, reason ANC in 2016, was that, the voters have signaled that they don't want the ANC by voting into a minority position, and therefore you would not be party to bringing the ANC to power via the back door. That hasn't changed in Nelson Mandela Bay. They're still in a minority position. So why now are you supporting them?
And then number 5. No, number 4, sorry. Yes, that's you, sorry.
It's Claudia Marriage from Business. Now, in terms of technical details, you said now people writing into Chief Justice removing Ms. November as the lead investigator. Do you have a deadline for that? And when do you expect an answer from him on this? And when do you expect taking this to court? And then as well as, can you give us more detail on the class action in regards to the companies linked to listeriosis? Where are you in the process? You have said you'd be curious, but when can we expect you in the process? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, last.
Documentaires Turkish journalist, and Mr. Malema, you celebrated the International Women's Days, but you only mentioned African and black women. Do you want to say anything about in the Middle East, in Palestine, and in Turkey especially, 17,000 women in jail without indictment since
All right, thank you, Mr. President.
My statement says, finally, wish all women of the world which Turkey and Palestine is part of, in particular working class. And that working class is found in Palestine and in Turkey, particularly the Turkish women who are in prisons. Black and African women, a happy International Women's Day. So we have not excluded anyone. We are with the women of the world, because we are an internationalist organization, and therefore we cannot exclude the women of the world. The lawyers have been briefed to take class action. I think by next week there will be papers submitted against all the companies that are involved in producing product that causes listeriosis. Nombembe, we've made a pronouncement now. A letter will follow immediately to the Deputy Chief Justice to raise our dissatisfaction. I've got a huge doubt on this commission. I think there's something going on there. There's generally something going on there, and I think that it is being structured in a manner that it will do the same things of Marikana Commission and the Serete Commission on the arms deal. Norman Senior Counsel is the lady who replaced Advocate Ntsebeza, Senior Counsel, and Advocate Semenya in the Judicial Service Commission, because they couldn't take Zuma's instruction in the JSC. And they were replaced with this woman. Today we find her in a commission that must investigate, amongst others, Zuma's shenanigans. And then we've got Nombembe there. A person who never denied receiving 1.2 million from Trillion. And then when send an email by the EFF questioning why do you take the money from a criminal syndicate when you are aware that these people are involved in a criminal activities in South Africa. He doesn't respond to the allegations. He says, he sent an email and said, hey guys, can we call each other? You can see that now the man is making, attempts to try and speak out the leadership of the EFF into this thing. Why is he refusing to communicate whatever he wants to communicate on the phone through a written response? The only thing you cannot write is corruption. The only thing you will not write is when you want to engage in illegal activities. Why does he say, no, can I call you? I want to talk to you. The man was attempting to bribe the EFF leadership in parliament out of this matter. And our leadership said, no, we're not going to take any call from you. We've written you an email. Till to date, he never answered that email. A crook. So that's why this institution is called SAICA.
SAICA, yeah.
SAICA, till today, we wrote a letter to SAICA about Transnet and the role that auditing firms have played in promotion of corruption in South Africa, particularly in Transnet and PRASA and all of that. Till today, there's never been any proper investigation by SAICA. SAICA is captured. The CEO of SAICA is captured, yet he's going to investigate the state capture. The Deputy Chief Justice should have known this. Should have known this. If he follows the issues in South Africa and who are the possible suspects. Because we in the EFF have got intention to call Nombembe to the commission.
Yes.
Nombembe must go and answer to the commission. How is Nombembe going to answer to the commission when he is the investigator himself? Deputy Chief Justice Zondo is starting on a wrong footing. I'm telling you now. And I'm warning you, South Africa, we are up to something here. We may find that the intention was good to establish a commission, but something else may be a different product here. We are not going to leave this commission. We are going to move closer to it. We are going to monitor every individual, including the ones in the printing room, photocopying room. We want to know who else is involved in this, because the starting point makes us to be suspicious that there's something wrong here. There's something wrong here. Now, he gets well-capable black silks. He puts them under white supervision. Because at the end of everything else, when this corruption is exposed and people are being prosecuted and all of that, it must be that it took the white fellows to intervene in the state capture. Otherwise, there would not have been a stoppage of this corruption in South Africa. We must always be supervised by whiteness. Why would you want a white senior counsel to supervise Maleka? Vincent Maleka, a man who took silk long time ago when it was not fashionable amongst blacks to take silk. What is it that Maleka doesn't have, which this white fellow has, to preside over Maleka, except that this guy is just senior to Maleka? Yes, he's senior to Maleka because they had a historical advantage. Their seniority is determined by who took silk before the other. But Maleka will not have done those things because of the background of where he comes from. So, again, we are not happy here. So, supervision, otherwise there can't be proper leaders because they must be subjected to white leadership. Well, you know that we have never spoken to the ANC about PE. We've never had a meeting with the ANC. We've never spoken to the ANC. We'll not speak to the ANC. We have no relationship with them. We don't want any relationship with them. We've just identified a guy who happened to be an ANC person to lead the municipality. And if the ANC wants to take it, they can take it. If they don't want to take it, they can leave it. And if the ANC comes up with a dodgy character as a mayor candidate, they must know that we will not vote with them. And then if Trolip wins, let me tell you, Trolip can win again. I don't know what is the procedure after passing a motion of no confidence, whether you got to be returned back again. You can stand again, same time, and get re-elected again. I don't know. But I'm saying, if Trolip wins, he must not win with an EFF vote. That's all what we are saying. He can win. We are not interested. He can win. But he's not going to win with an EFF vote. This is a man who presides over a DA, Federal Council, that takes a decision not to support land expropriation without compensation, because this seeks to restore the dignity of black people and do away with white supremacy and whiteness. So when you want to punish DA, why do you go for locals? Go for a national leader, the man who presided over this decision. He must know that the decisions he takes in the DA Federal Council have got consequences, both politically and personal. That's all we're saying. If Mashaba was presiding over a Federal Council where this decision was taken, he would have been a victim himself. The decision not to support land expropriation has got everything else to do with perpetuation of white privilege, the defense of white benefits and privileges. It has got everything else to do with the continuation of black suffering, the continuation of inequality in South Africa. It has got to do with that. And, you know, Throlip comes in handy because during the negotiations with the DA, they were prepared to give us Tshwane and Joburg. They were not prepared to barge in PE. They wanted to protect that white man with everything. So we know what will hurt the DA. If you want to hurt the DA, don't go and remove Soli Musima. You won't hurt the DA. They will say, they are the same. It's okay. They must kill each other there. So that's why there is huge anger. Hey, the voters are going to be angry with EFF in PE. Which voters? The DA voters. You must see the white anger we experience on social media. It makes me very happy. It means we are doing something right. I've never seen white people so angry. There is no part of my body they haven't called. They called me by every part of the body. The way they are so angry. So, what is the problem? We are exercising our right to fold our arms. Now you come and ask us about tone here. Which tone is that? Because I've never learned of tone in politics. What tone is that? What tone? We have not changed any tone. You know, the good thing about EFF is that when we voted the DA, the voters are going to punish you. The voters are going to punish you. Now we say, well, we can vote Mcebisi Jonas a credible. The voters are going to punish you. There is no direction the EFF can take without being punished by voters. And you think you scare us by saying the voters will punish us. We are not here for votes. We are here for the truth. We tell the truth. And we tell it openly, without nursing feelings. If you don't like it, it's your own baby to feed Malta Bella. It's not our problem. We are here for the truth. We are not here for political expediency. Why should the DA not support the land expropriation and then the tone must not change? The tone, politics. They must not change. When the DA, politics is about give and take. We're not in some church here. This is not a Bushir arrangement. We're in politics here. It's about give and take. The DA is not prepared to give anything. It shall not take anything from us. That's it. There's no inconsistency. It's politics, Papa. If you don't know them, you can take a quick crash course. Politics 101. Then you'll know what politics are about. We're in politics here. We're not in some other arrangement other than political arrangement. Give and take. So nothing DA is offering us, nothing the DA is giving us, the DA shall receive nothing from us. The ANC corruption will never be voted for in Joburg, in Tshwane, even in PE. Even in PE. If Mcebisi Jonas is not available, and then the ANC cannot bring anyone credible to the satisfaction of South Africans, then again, they must forget. I'm asking myself, what is this anger about removing Trolip and replacing him with Mutebis. Mutebis is only good to you when he fights the Guptas. It's not good to serve. Mutebis that all of you showered with praises. Now that Mutebis is going for a white man, you are only good when you fight blacks and Indians there, not here next to a white person. If it's about a good leader who serves the people, then why have you changed all of a sudden that Mutebis is no longer a good person? Why? What has changed? The tone, Mr. Tone, what has changed? Because your tone on Mutebis was so well when he was fighting the Guptas. Now your tone has changed when Mutebis goes to stand, or when Mutebis is being proposed to stand against a white person. Your hypocrisy is being exposed. That you are never for principle, you only support when blacks go after blacks. When they go after whiteness and white supremacy, you call us all sorts of names. Go on. We're not scared. We're prepared. We're prepared for anything. Anything.
All right, we're taking you out of this briefing by the EFF, Julius Malema, speaking on a range of issues from state capture to land expropriation to listeriosis.
I think we're not prepared. We have experienced this in the Youth League when we took a decision on the expropriation of land without compensation. Tony Yongeni walked me out of that conference and said to me, Julius, you've taken radical decisions here. Let me warn you, they are going to come for you. We are about to see the repeat of history now. Because land expropriation without compensation is non-negotiable, is going to happen. And we are not setting the agenda for anyone, we're setting the agenda for ourselves. The expropriation of land without compensation is an EFF non-negotiable cardinal pillar number 1. When we adopted this in 2013, why didn't you say, are you setting the agenda for the ANC? We are setting the agenda for ourselves. We told you that we are going to lead through superior logic. Leadership doesn't mean you must always occupy the front seat. You can lead from behind. How do you lead from behind? You lead through ideas. I mean, we sit back there and we're laughing like, this is so good, man. When everybody else continues to carry the ideas expressed by the EFF before. So we're not setting the agenda for the ANC. We're not involved with the ANC. We never hold meetings with the ANC. We've never held meetings with the ANC. We don't exchange notes with the ANC. We woke up one day, there was a motion on nationalization of Reserve Bank. And the next thing, when we're happy that, we're getting somewhere, the motion was removed. So who will bring the motion as the EFF in Parliament if the ANC doesn't bring a proper motion on the nationalization of the Reserve Bank? So we're not really engaged in anything like that. Land is not an election issue. It's not an issue to play with. It's not an issue to campaign with. It's an emotive issue. And what made me personally to be more resolute against the DA was when the president was talking about the person he met on the streets there when he was walking. And that person said were forcefully removed in District 6 and now do not have a house. They even took our land. There are some young white DA boys there in Parliament, extremely racist and arrogant. They were shouting from behind, give him a house, give him an RDP house. Why not giving him an RDP house? To them, a land issue is an RDP house. They don't appreciate the pain, the forceful removal, the shambox, the police brutality that accompanied the removal of District 6 people. The president was not talking about the person who's looking for a land and a house. The president was using that to demonstrate the pain that black people still have till to date when it comes to the land issue. That we ought to do something to heal that pain. And RDP will not heal that pain. the white boys of the of the DA, failing to appreciate that it is not about an RDP house. It's about how do we heal the pain of the past caused by genocide committed against black people. We're inviting everyone into this conversation. We're saying to them, let's talk. How do we heal that pain? How do we heal this permanent anger amongst black people? That even 24 years into democracy, they're still very angry because the property relations have not changed. They are still the same as they were during colonial apartheid times. That which they've lost, they've never gained. We are a country where a revolution took place, but the colonialist, the oppressor lost nothing. And the oppressed gained nothing. But we talk of 1994 breakthrough. Breakthrough, what breakthrough? The oppressor lost nothing. The oppressed gained nothing. Yet you call it freedom. Yet you call it democratic breakthrough. Yet you call it a revolution has taken place. The oppressed have gained nothing. The inequalities are growing high. The whites are becoming more richer. The blacks are becoming more poorer. Because those who are scared to call white and black, they say the rich are becoming more richer, the poor are becoming more poorer. Simply put means whites are becoming richer, blacks are becoming more poor. And we have to call it by its rightful name if we want to understand each other. And if we want our fellow white South Africans to know what we are talking about. Because sometimes whites, they just behave like they are aloof. They don't understand what you are talking about. When you say the rich are becoming richer, but you are talking about Patrice. You are talking about Cyril. They are becoming richer. They don't think you are talking about them. So we have to call them by their rightful name so they know we are talking about them, that they are becoming more richer. Actually, one white fellow was trying to make a joke and said, if we had known democracy was going to be this nice, we would have given it to you before 1976 to avoid killing of people. Why? It's very nice for them. They can now open Pick and Pay in Soweto. They couldn't do it in the past. They can now open ShopRite in Thohoyandou. They couldn't do it in the past. And their opening of these shops in the black townships has led to the closing down of spaza shops and making those small black business people in those townships and rural areas more poorer. That's why democracy is so nice for whites. They would have given it to us in 1970 had they known it was going to be this nice. Chief, there is no urban or rural land in our vocab. There is South African land. All of it must be taken and the state must be the custodian of that land and reallocate it to our people and preference given to the previously disadvantaged people. That includes the land owned by Ingonyama Trust. That includes the land owned by Hosi Tony Ramabulan, Kotsikulu Ramabulan. That includes their land. That includes the land of our king in the Eastern Cape, who's in prison now. Dalinje, he's our king. King, no prison can take away your blood. King is blood. Kingship is blood. He's a king in prison. That includes his land. All of it. And if the land in the hands of the chiefs and the kings is meant to benefit the people, the state can still do that. Unless it's meant to benefit the elite found in those tribal arrangements. But if indeed its intention is to benefit ordinary people, the state can do that. Let's not talk war. Let us not beat war drums here. Let us come up with superior argument on why it shouldn't be done like that. We love the Zulu king, by the way. We support him. We gave him cattle. But we can disagree with him. And we should do that. We should do that. There are no holy cows in this country. We must debate issues openly, including disagreeing with the Zulu king. Democracy means that. We must never fear. Anything that seeks to instill fear is undemocratic and should never be celebrated. It's undemocratic and should never be celebrated. The Zulu king must call for engagement with regard to the land. He must be respected. He must not be feared. No one. I only fear God. I don't fear anyone. If it means death, let it be. Why should we be intimidated here and be threatened for thinking? We have never promised war to the Zulu kingdom. We have never promised war to the Afrikaners. We have never promised war to the whites. We have called for engagement. So why should the response be, leave what you are doing, otherwise you will meet the unexpected? Hey, what type of language is this in a democratic South Africa? No one is talking war here. Everybody is talking about how do we get the Zulu people, the Venda people, the Xhosa people benefiting from their land. No one is excluded here. No one. So we are saying, let there be a peaceful engagement. Let us not talk war. There is no army which will go against the Zulu people. No army at all. There's no police which will go against the Zulu people. The Zulu king must be aware that anything else that seeks to put blacks against blacks will just lead on black violence. That's what they are calling for. Because there's no army. The people who support the expropriation of land without compensation, they will have to defend themselves for their thinking. So we want every Zulu-speaking person in South Africa to get a piece of land. To get a piece of land. We want all of them to get a piece of land. So if the king thinks this is the best way to give the people land through Ingonyama Trust, let the king come and make such a submission and persuade the EFF. And persuade the ANC and persuade Parliament. The king should be encouraging dialogue in South Africa because of the experiences he had had himself in KwaZulu-Natal. He should be encouraging dialogue. There's no any other way out of this except dialogue, not violence. Comrades, let's be clear here. We should never be intimidated and should never tiptoe around people who want to threaten us with violence. Never. If we die today, if we die tomorrow, if we die at any time, we should die with our boots on so that the incoming generation can respect us and continue the struggle. If we are going to be scared because the Zulu king is angry and says, leave this thing, then no one is going to inherit this struggle because they will all be scared. Some of us are still shocked, why are we still alive? Because when we joined this thing, the highest price was death. The second price was prison. So there shouldn't be any amount of intimidation that scare fighters and those who believe in expropriation of land without compensation. I'm shocked with the... Anyway, I'm not shocked because I said this before. And those who care to keep archives can go and search the... I said the Zuma people who are supporting Nkosazana do not mean it when they say expropriation of land without compensation. They don't mean it. I said it. And if you doubted what I said, look at the KZN ANC today. They are tiptoeing now around the issue of expropriation of land without compensation. They are speaking against their own sponsored resolution. Why? Because they never meant it. They all just wanted the votes for Nkosazana. Thank God they failed. They failed. Sitle Zigalala. Why is there no any disciplinary action against Mkhunu? Mkhunu, who stands there during the state of the province and speaks something completely different from the National Conference resolution of the ANC. When we tell you this ANC is finished, people think we are playing. They do not even have respect of their own resolution. If you doubt it, just look at the KZN ANC.
Sure.
Let's take the
Did I leave something?
Yes.
Which one?
Removal of goods only on these terraces.
Well, the goods must be removed and then proper goods of enterprise and Rainbow. If there is such a thing, we must educate our people. It's not every Vienna. It's it's a Vienna from enterprise and a baloney. The cheese is not affected. So they must leave cheese alone. They must not cheese. I mean, but like Maliva. So, Arboni or Maliva enterprise. Yellow as Maliva enterprise. Please, leave Maliva. Leave Maliva. So, there is no problem. The problem is when you don't want to remove enterprise and rainbow chickens. Otherwise, everything else, it's fine. We don't have a problem. So if there is such incident, please bring it to our attention so that we can educate our fighters. About Barnaba no Maliva as I you, but Maliva everywhere, no. Maliva. So so we have to educate them. It's not every baloney. It's not every Russian. It's enterprise Russian. And all of that. So, but Jonaria didn't charge him. And ashamedly, we don't even apologize for that.
Yes.
Enterprise, Rainbow, we're removing them. Pick and Pay called Mbuyiseni and said, no, we don't do that. We don't keep things. But there's a Pick and Pay in Protea, in Soweto, which kept enterprise products and Rainbow Chicken. There was Pick and Pay in Tefliop, which was refusing to refund the students. They said they do not have the receipts. And our argument is, why would they keep the receipts? Because they never had intention to bring these things back. And those things have got scanners. You know, people from Pick and Pay, you'll think they are clever, but many of them, they are different. It has got a scanner, that thing. So they can take it and scan it, and then it will show if it's a Pick and Pay product or not. Something like that. So they can just establish a new till there or a desk which deals with returns of enterprise. It's as easy as that. Our aggressive approach is because government is very soft when it comes to white-owned companies. We know that our government will not go aggressive in removing this thing from the shelves. Motsoaledi, the man who arrives very late on every situation, has arrived now on this issue, and then he has disappeared. We have never seen Motsoaledi, the most active favorite minister of the media, going shop by shop to check if indeed these things are not there. The man, the loved one, the favorite one, the chosen of the media, has never visited any store to see if enterprise products and Rainbow Chickens are not on the shelves. That's what active minister should be. Should not be about answering phones from journalists. And then you say, this one is the most accessible minister. The accessible minister should go on the ground and see if indeed what he pronounced is actually the order of the day on the ground. You can't find ANC there. You can't find a DA there. Where our people die all the time, you'll find the EFF. EFF is concerned by the fact that 180 people have died already. A minister should be on the ground fighting. He's going to tell us, hey, it's not my job to check this, to check that. But you are quite the most progressive and active minister. Let's see Your activism should not be only through press conferences. President Ramaphosa, you like walking. Can you take one of your walks into these stores to check if these things are not on the shelves? Comrades, the point we're making that these things have been removed, some of them from the shelves, but they are not shown publicly where they are being destroyed. We don't know where they are being destroyed. You know what is going to happen? They are going to dump them at dumping areas. And the poor are going to go there and pick them up and die. It's a life of a black person we're talking about here. A life of a black child. A life of a black poor person. These things are going to be dumped at dumping areas. Black poor are going to pick them up and eat them again. Where is the Pick and Pay destroying these things? Where is ShopRite destroying these things? Why are they not showing them in public if they're being destroyed? Mutwaledi, where are you? We last saw you at the press conference. Where is the ANC? Where is the DA? Why are they not making follow-ups to ask where is the area of destroying these things to make sure that they don't find their way back into our communities? So please give us information of areas where things are being removed which are not enterprise. We'll go and repack them ourselves. We'll go and repack them.
Yes.
Yes, we don't have a problem. We'll go and repack them if we have made such a mistake. Of course, it is people who are working who will make mistakes, not armchair critics. Marelo Maliva actually, and Maliva are wrong. Please show us, we'll take them back.
The presiding office. Let's take another round. Excuse me, let's take another round, which will be the final round, by the way, of questions. Matiliso, you'll be number one and then number two. There's someone next to you with a hand. People at the back, please stand if you have a hand. Okay, then number three. This is the last opportunity for questions. I'm going to give you a second to think through. Going once. Well gone, number one.
Thank you. CD Magia from News 24. My first question is about, I suppose I'm looking for reaction really. You know, the EFF, I'm thinking back to 2016, that wonderful background in Alex where we had that media briefing. And then the one thing you had made a condition at that time was Malema for the DA. They ignored it, and then Malema eventually did become mayor with the backing of the EFF. Then last year there was an issue with Helen Zille, who seems to not control herself as far as Twitter is concerned, and the DA struggles to also keep her in check. You took issue with that, and there was a threat made by the EFF to the DA about dealing with Helen, remove her or you lose our support. They didn't remove her per se, and they did not lose your support. So some people are saying, yeah, you're making threats about Ethel Trollope now, but actually it might go nowhere. So I'm just looking for a reaction to that. And then another thing, the Ingwenyama Trust issue. I think you've kind of answered a lot of my questions around it. But somebody was saying that you're actually going after black people when you start talking about the issues around the land owned by chiefs, and that it's black on black violence. You spoke about black on black violence. That instead of targeting the whites, you are actually starting with the easy pickings, which are land owned by chiefs. And then the last question, I know Tulas asked you about tone. My question about that is like, what did we do to you? You know, the tone towards the media has also become increasingly quite intense, or and it's quite intense. What did we do? Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Number two. Are you catching feelings, Masi?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Ibrahim Makunyala from the Boston Media House. What are your words of encouragement to the youth that have lost confidence and faith in political parties into governance, in ensuring that issues affecting young people in the country are dealt with directly?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, the police already, the officers of the Apel. We just want to know what is your view.
Mr. President.
Well, we're happy that Malema is being raided by the Hawks. It is long overdue. There are a lot of corruption cases in Limpopo which the Hawks are doing nothing about. There are a lot of cases of corruption in Mpumalanga which the Hawks are doing nothing about. So we've seen action in Free State. We now see action in Northwest. Let's see action in Limpopo. Let's see action in Mpumalanga. Let's see action here in Gauteng and everywhere else, in South Africa. So we're seeing, and this is a confirmation, by the way, of what the EFF has been saying, that these institutions are politically controlled. Now the people who are controlling the Hawks are no longer there. So the Hawks are acting. So meaning, if there is a corruption of Cyril Ramaphosa, it will have to wait for Cyril to leave office before it gets attended to. They are politically controlled, they are politically manipulated. But some action, really, in the absence of any action, is something to celebrate. And we indeed celebrate that. The youth have not lost faith in politics and political parties. It's not true. I don't think, if you were to refer me to some credible research institution, because you might be talking about your own reflections. But if you say to me, this is what science say, then perhaps I'll be able to respond to that. Because, I mean, let's take, for instance, fees must fall. That's youth. Let's take road must fall. That's youth. Let's take provision of sanitary towels to poor girls. That's youth. So youth and politics, they are there. They're active. The EFF membership and support base is youth. So the youth are active. The youth have got faith in politics, and that's why we're calling upon them to say, this is your chance. Your future will be determined by the 2019 democratic election outcome. So if there is any, research outcome that points to that direction, we may be in a position to engage with them. My relationship with the media has always been like this. I've got no cozy relationship with the media. Where you do well, we compliment you. When we were talking about Nkandla and all that, we called the name of a journalist who has been sitting on this story for quite some time. But come on, man. Journalists and the media in particular has taken a posture against land expropriation without compensation. They've taken a position. There may be a few of them who have not taken a position. And media houses which are white-owned, of course, they will take that position. They want to criminalize it. They want to make it look barbaric. They want to make it look like it's going to collapse the country. In the launching of the EFF registration campaign, I've given examples of how many times land was taken in South Africa without any investment leaving South Africa, without any white person leaving South Africa. The first time they left is when Mandela became president in 1994. Actually, when he got released, they started creating unnecessary panic and fear of the unknown, and then they left. After 1994, they left, and then they became poorer in Europe. They came back. So, but they never left when land was taken. But today, media is feeding the whole South African nation and the world that we are actually heading to a point of bankruptcy if we take the land like Zimbabwe. We are repeating Zimbabwe. And I'm looking at the images of Zimbabwe and I'm looking at the images of South Africa. There is no comparison at all. There is a democratic discourse in South Africa on how the land should be expropriated without compensation. In Zimbabwe, there was machete, there was the army in the farms of people, white people were beaten up. We have not done that yet. White people call us all sorts of names. They are so angry. We have not beaten them up. So, what is the comparison between us and Zimbabweans? Nothing at all. We're talking here. How do we transfer the land into the hands of the people in line with the Freedom Charter within a democratic and constitutional means? That's a discourse we're having. And We're not taking the land of the kings. Not at all. That's why I said to the brother here, there is no urban and rural land in our vocab. There is South African land. And all of it, it's a priority. The land will be owned by the state, and it can be transferred into the Ngonyama Trust to manage it when it relates to KwaZulu-Natal. It can be one of the proposals made through the modalities of how this land must be managed. The mineral resources of South Africa were owned by Anglo-American. We took them, and the state is the custodian now. The state even goes back to the Anglo-Americans. Since you have been mining, here is a mining right, mine here. And if you don't meet the following conditions, we will withdraw the license. The mineral resources in South Africa were privately owned. Were privately owned. They were not owned by the state. Today they are owned by the state. And then the state then reissues licenses to the mines. China, where these multinational companies are saying they are investing in, the land is owned by the state. We may want to take a trip, a study tour to China, to look at how does the Chinese do it. Own the land and still get direct investment, direct foreign investment, even when they own their piece of land. So it's not a war. I don't understand why there's beating of war drums. It's not a war. It's a democratic process. The struggle has always been about the land. And I'm worried about the Kingdom of Natal when people want to put it against black people. It's like black on black. We shouldn't have black on black. I understand why the Afrikaners are panicking, because they know what they did to black people. Ngonyama Trust has got no reason to panic. But if you know you are haunted by your own sins, you have a reason to panic. I understand where the Afrikaners come from, Shem. They are panicking. They've got a reason to panic. They've got blood on their heads of innocent people. And they think we're out there to revenge. And we're not out there to revenge. We are not that type of people. So the media, really, it's going to be a robust debate. It's going to be a robust debate. There's going to be robustness. And we must not fear robustness. We must not catch feelings about it. We must engage. We must continue to engage. We must hold our views and all of that. Well, we made a threat that the DA, if they don't remove Mashaba, will not vote with them. And then we made a decision to vote with them because they were better driven. And then we said to the DA, you have to take action on Helen Zille. Otherwise, it will have implications. Helen Zille dragged, Musi Maimane dragged Helen Zille like a schoolgirl into a press conference to apologize. And we said it then, that to see a black young man dragging a white, arrogant lady like that into a press conference like a schoolgirl and make her apologize to us, it is something, and therefore we've accepted it. We're not making a threat in PE. We've written a letter, and we've asked for a special sitting on the 6th of April. So those who think we're making a threat, they can actually ask the PE authorities if indeed the EFF has written a letter. And then actually, Matsidiso, your examples actually justify our case. That no, but instead of saying you are inconsistent, you must say, you have been patient with them. You said Mashaba, they didn't listen. You said Helen Zille, they didn't listen. You have always been patient with the DA. And we have reached a point where we're here. We can't take it anymore. And we are saying the constitutional review process is going to start. It would all depend on how they carry themselves, really. going forward. Look at what DA does, and they think we are not into politics who can't read situation. Since we pronounced on Trolip, they've been on an onslaught against the EFF, insulting us, saying they are going to open cases against us. You know what they are doing? They are pushing us further away. Why? If there is no Trolip mayor, we can as well not have any mayor. So make the EFF angry to a point that it removes other mayors because they are black and useless. I mean, the mayor to us is Trolip. In the absence of Trolip, they can as well just remove all of them. Let's make them more angry. Let's open cases against them. Let's attack them from all angles. And we're not going to do it. We're not going to remove those mayors. They must remove them themselves. We're not going to remove them. They are angry because a white man is being removed. And therefore, they don't care about these black ones. Musi is still going to pay high price for this racism of DA. He thinks he's on top of situation and then he's defending whiteness. The day they turn against him, he will know that they've got no mercy for black people. No mercy. Look at how they are doing, what they are doing to Soli and Mashaba. And Patricia de Lille. We have had to go and save Patricia de Lille, even when we don't believe in her. Just to say, yo, Mwanabatu. This black lady Bana is being abused by these male Afrikaner bullies. Let's protect her. They don't care. But why does the DA think it is the only ones who have the right to pass motion of no confidence against their mayors? We never insulted them when they passed the motion of no confidence against Patricia de Lille. We just went and exercised our democratic right. We never called them names. No, we never shouted at them. They were doing their own thing. They had the right to do it. We never screamed at them. They think they are the only ones who can pass motion of no confidence against people. They think they've got an exclusive right to pass motions of no confidence. They can hire and fire. They think they've got the power to hire and fire people and no one else can do it. And that's a white mentality. That's whiteness. That's how it is. It thinks that it is the only ones who can hire and fire. They are not used to being questioned. They are used to being giving instruction. And they can't tolerate a party like the EFF that questions. Because it's a relationship of a boss and a boy. Boss and a boy. That's exactly why we will punish them. This white arrogance. So, we're not threatening. Trolip is gone. We received some names from Shem. Some of the fighters, not fighters, the comrades we were with in the youth league in PE. Some of them were suggesting themselves, and some of them are suggesting their friends. But these people can't pass through a garage door. Not through the eye of a needle, through a garage door. A person who can't pass through a garage door wants to be a mayor. Once through the eye of a needle. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day and weekend. The copies of the statement are available at the back.
No. You must withdraw them.
Oh, don't distribute yum yum. We'll post it just now on the website. Thank you.
Just a minute. You'll get it on the